farmersusa.com. If we don't have any more questions coming in, I appreciate you guys being here and answering for this Q&A. Yeah. Now we'll move on to our next segment. As we said at the beginning of the current segment, we had our talent development internship this past summer. This internship consisted of 17 participants that form part of the Champions in Conservation Learning Network. Throughout the internship, the participants had to develop a final project inspired by the modules that you just saw, and ultimately work with conservation practices in different environments. And now we'll be presenting some of those projects throughout a series of short videos. Our first video comes to us from Marinines Ortiz. Her project is titled Conservation Plan, and it was done at a farm located in Las Marias, if I'm not mistaken, and it's called Hacienda Adelphia. So whenever the video is ready.
Hello everyone, my name is Marinines Ortiz Torres. I study ag education in the University of Puerto Rico at Maya West. I'm part of the Champions in Conservation group of interns. This is my second time working with Nova Consulting. My first time was in 2018, working in the Asheboro field office in North Carolina. Currently, I am part of the pathway program for the state of Illinois, but I am located in Puerto Rico. For my project, I designed a conservation plan for Hacienda Adelphia. This farm is located in Maricao, Puerto Rico, and it has been worked as a citrus farm for 20 years. Actually, they have coffee, the citrus, and they're implementing sheeps for the weed control. Emmanuel Gonzalez Nieves is the farmer. He was not related to agriculture before, but after many years working as a barista, he decided to turn his life around and become a coffee producer as part of Hacienda Adelphia. Of the conservation planning, we have to know the farm objectives. In this case, Hacienda Adelphia's goal is to adopt conservation practices to help the farm to be more autosustainable, diversify the ways to generate income, develop his own special coffee, and build a model farm to educate and create an echo of the benefits of conservation. The next step was to identify the primary resource concerns, and I found that there was classic gully erosion, shade and rill erosion, organic matter. These are the recommended conservation practices. We can work a lot of other practices, but for the moment, I think that we have to give priority to these ones. I marked the contour in a new field to plant coffee, and I helped him to establish communication with the agency. Now, he is being visited by the NRCS, and he wants to see if he can be part of the EQUIP program and receive help to establish the new conservation practices that he needs to implement in the field. Thanks to this internship, I learned a lot from cafe culture, and I spent a lot of time in the field giving customer service and planning, which is one of the things that I like the most.
I like to say it's a crime, but I know I don't hurt you up in time. Yeah. I like to call it a steal, the way you're doing me, the way you're
Wow, amazing video. Now it is my pleasure to welcome Mari Mines and open the floor up for questions from the public. Whenever you're ready, Mari.
Hello, everyone. Here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, great. So, some question that someone want to add or ask.
Well, I can get you started. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, tell me.
No, I was just going to get you started by asking you how you were feeling, how you felt when you saw that video, like all of your hard work, like how do you feel?
Yes. Voy a hablar en español, ¿verdad? Porque se me hace un poquito más fácil.
Sí, puedes hablar en español.
Claro. Wow, pues este internado para mí fue una experiencia totalmente diferente. A pesar de que trabajo activamente con la agencia como un Soil Conservation Student Trainee, pude ver las cosas de una manera totalmente distinta, una perspectiva totalmente diferente. Es cierto, ¿verdad?, que estuve dando servicio a un agricultor, tal como lo estoy haciendo en la oficina, pero el envolverme con él, ¿verdad?, con el agricultor per se y ponerme en sus zapatos y ver las cosas como si yo fuera la agricultora, me dio la oportunidad de poder ver todo de una manera un poco más amplia. Pude expandir mis conocimientos de manera en las que yo realmente no pensé que lo iba a hacer. Y esta oportunidad realmente que sobrepasó extremadamente muchísimo, ¿verdad? Podría decir todas mis expectativas. ¿Verdad? Por eso quiero agradecer a Nolo y al team, ¿verdad? Ya que no solamente como profesional, como estudiante, sino también como persona y como persona que da servicio, pues pude desarrollarme muchísimo.
Gracias, Mari. Te pregunto, mencionaste que para ti era importante ver el agricultor con unos ojos distintos, se podría decir hasta de manera empática. ¿Tú crees que eso es importante para personas que están trabajando, ya sea en el gobierno federal, en cuestión de agricultura?
En definitivo, claro, y especialmente nosotros como conservacionistas, al momento de nosotros preparar un plan de conservación, no simplemente debemos ver las cosas, ¿verdad?, o el escenario como un lugar donde hay erosión o problemas de calidad de ambiente o aire o algún resource concerns que nosotros veamos allí, sino que también hay que preparar un plan de conservación que vaya acorde con el trabajo del agricultor, no solamente con los objetivos de la finca. Nosotros queremos facilitarle la vida al agricultor a la vez que conservamos los recursos naturales. Así que muchas veces nosotros como profesionales tenemos que ponernos en los zapatos de los agricultores y ponernos en su lugar para poder ver las cosas de esta manera en la que yo entiendo que este internado a mí me pudo permitir ver las cosas.
Excelente. Vi que Indio popped his head, si él quería hacer alguna pregunta o algún acercamiento.
Claro, adelante.
Sí, yo quería hacer un comentario primero, y es que luego de ver el video, tuve oportunidad de verlo anteriormente y pues sé del trabajo que he realizado y pues me encantó ¿verdad?, la manera en que pudiste ayudar a este agricultor y pues me imagino que eso será, ¿verdad?, pie para que él siga aprovechando los beneficios que trae, ¿verdad?, la conservación y en este caso pues una relación con el NRCS. Una pregunta que tengo para ti: ¿cómo se siente el que tú estés acabada de salir del colegio de Mayagüez, de la universidad, y poder haber ya tenido tantas experiencias, ¿verdad? A través de los internados de Nolo y a través, ¿verdad? Del trabajo que está realizando también con la agencia. ¿Y qué mensaje podrías darle a otros agricultores jóvenes que están graduándose también del colegio y que van a empezar a tener experiencias como las que ya tú has tenido?
Claro, gracias Indio, ¿verdad? Por la pregunta. Se siente muy bien y algo extremadamente satisfactorio poder ver la satisfacción del agricultor y ver que él está contento, que está satisfecho y que tiene las ganas de poder seguir trabajando en el campo y de poder seguir conservando. No todos los agricultores tienen una buena perspectiva de la conservación, piensan que muchas veces se le puede complicar el trabajo porque sinceramente no están quizá educados. Pero ver a este agricultor que tenía muchísimas ganas de trabajar, de informarse y de aprender, a mí eso me llenó muchísimo y se sintió muy bien poder darle el servicio y que él viera el efecto y ver ese interés en él primordialmente. Como estudiante yo le diría a otros jóvenes que se atrevan, que busquen oportunidades, que las oportunidades están, que no solo es una agencia que ofrece prácticas de conservación, sino que va mucho más allá. Yo cada día, ¿verdad? Aprendo algo nuevo, visito una finca nueva y no tan solo el ir a la finca, sino también el hablar con los agricultores, me permite, tal como le he dicho anteriormente, ver las cosas desde una perspectiva totalmente distinta. Las experiencias, los conocimientos que se intercambian con las personas en el field es algo que sinceramente no lo puedo explicar, es algo extremadamente satisfactorio. Yo llevo el punto en el que, ¿verdad? Yo, tal como Pathway, que tengo la oportunidad de poder tener la plaza a full time en el momento en el que me gradúe, yo siento que a mí me pagarían por un trabajo en el cual yo lo que hago es disfrutar. Y yo pues quisiera compartir ese sentimiento con otros jóvenes que así lo quieran hacer.
Bueno, muchas gracias, Mari. Apreciamos mucho que hayas estado aquí, que hayas formado parte del programa y por dar tu granito de arena para que todo esto fuese posible.
Gracias a ustedes, muchas gracias al equipo y saludo a todas las personas. Fue un placer estar con ustedes. Linda tarde.
Gracias. Okay, now we move on to Dos de Cada Uno, and this project is presented by Ricardo Lanzo and Silvia Noriega. It will be a short video whenever it's ready.
Well, good day, everyone. This is Dos de Cada Una Conservation Plan, which Dos de Cada Una means two of each in Spanish. And this group is composed by Silvia and myself, Ricardo.
Hi, my name is Silvia Noriega. My first experience with the NOLO consulting team was in 2018 in a NRCS internship in Mississippi. I have a bachelor's degree in animal science that I finished in June of 2019, and I'm currently studying my master's in animal science.
My name is Ricardo Alonso. I had the opportunity of working in NOLO Consulting in an internship in Florida, summer of 2019. And I worked as a soil scientist next to Craig Frink, who is at my right, and Martin Figueroa, who is standing at my left. I graduated last June in a bachelor degree in agronomy in the University of Puerto Rico, Mayagüez, and I am currently studying a master's degree in agricultural education. Now, to talk a little bit about the farm, Dos de Cada Una is located in Lajas, Puerto Rico. It's a free-range poultry farm whose most income arrives from eggs and breeding, and it's owned and operated by Carlos Ramirez Fagundo. Now, the owner of the farm, Carlos, is actually a student, and he had an internship last summer. So because he was leaving the responsibility of the farm to his parents, he had to sell most of his chickens. So right now, most of his income doesn't come by selling eggs, but by selling chickadees, like you see on the left. Now, some of the conservation challenges for this farm is dealing with the chicken manure, finding more helpful ways of disposing it or more profitable ways of disposing it and working with the smell. Another challenge is dealing with the high erosion. As you can see in the picture, there's supposed to be a fence crossing the farm, and the ground there in the center is already eroded. And this is due to the fact that the farm is located in a steep slope. He gets a lot of precipitation and wind. Here we have a better view of how the slope affects the farm. Right in the farm, you can see already the erosion you saw earlier at the center where the fence crosses. And a little bit to the left, there is actually an even steeper slope. So the erosion is more pronounced over there.
So we would like to mention, just for fun, some of the chicken breeds that Carlos has in his farm. This one right here is a blue Americana, or the Easter egger. And this chicken lays blue eggs as pictured on the bottom left. So the second breed is called the black copper Moran, and it lays dark brown eggs. Pictured on the right is a white egg and a couple of cream eggs. For comparison, to compare it to the really dark brown eggs that this chicken lays, which are the bottom two rows of eggs. This third breed is called the olive egger. It is a mix between the previous two, the Americana and the black copper Moran, and it lays green eggs. It ranges from an olive colored egg all the way to a bluish green. And these are some other breeds in his farm. From top left to bottom right are the white leghorn, which lays white eggs, the Rhode Island red, which lays cream-colored to pinkish-colored eggs, the Ayam Gemani, which is the all-black chicken that lays
Everyone, we're having some technical difficulties. Thank you once again for your patience. And
brown colored eggs with freckles. And the last one is called the Bantam. Them or kitties, and that one lays cream-colored eggs. And the fun part about that breed is that it has feathers on its legs. We would now like to talk about the conservation opportunities that we have in the Dos de Cada Una farm. The first opportunity we saw was with the chicken manure. Chicken manure is high in nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. It also provides organic matter to the soil, and it increases its water holding capacity. Given that he shovels 2 barrels of chicken manure a week, we saw an opportunity to keep it from going to waste, and as a way to make a profit. Turns out his uncle has avocado, plantain, and guanabana trees in his farm, and was looking to buy some fertilizer. What better fertilizer than a natural one, right? For the manure to become good fertilizer, it has to be diluted with other natural ingredients, like plant production residue, such as coffee shells, rice shells, and coconut scraps. It can also be mixed with wood chips, that are left after the wood planks are made in hardware stores, or with kitchen scraps like fruit and vegetable peels and eggshells. Another compost ingredient could be landscape waste products like grass, leaves, and small branches. We decided to go for wood chips and some grass. This is an image of what the fertilizer will look like after the process is complete. I say fertilizer and not compost because even with all the added ingredients, the mix is still too pure, and planting or sowing plants in it might kill the plant. The top right picture is manure, the second picture is the wood trimmings that we're using, and the third is landscape scraps, leaves, grass, and branches. The plan for Carlos, the farm owner, is to continue doing this, but to add the wood scrap as bedding, as shown above, so that it will already be mixed in with the manure, and so that he doesn't have to move as much soil from the cages when shoveling the material out, which was one of the problems that he was also having.
Now, to work with the erosion occurring at the farm, we are planning to use cover crops for the steeper slope at the back of the farm to the left side that I showed you before. We're going to use spatially since it's an excellent cover crop and it works well with the area. Now, one of the interesting opportunities we have is finding a cover crop that works well with chickens, because as you may already know, usually chicken farms tend to have the ground barren, so it will be a nice chance to see if we can change that. Now, we expect to implement this plan completely in around 75 days, and this is due because the process from taking the chicken manure and turning it into a fertilizer or a compost takes a while, since drying manure takes around 2 weeks. Doing the hot compost recipe process, that is keeping the compost still so the microorganisms can heat up through their decomposition process. And then we wait 3 days, we turn the compost, wait 3 more days, turn the compost. It usually takes at least 9 days, and the longest process is the curating process, which takes around 52 days. Now, that being said, the partially cover crop implementation will overlap the compost process, and it takes a lot less. So the determining factor for us for finishing the conservation plan is the compost creation.
The outcome and implications of this project were to turn chicken manure into a natural plant fertilizer. As you can see on the top left, there are a couple of algarroba trees. On the top right are small plantain plants. And on the bottom left is an avocado tree. You know, Carlos will be making use of things that would otherwise be discarded, and he would also be making an extra profit. And the second outcome and implication will be to reduce soil erosion by using the patchouli plants. As you can see on the picture on the right, there's a really big problem with erosion on the
Since the moment we arrived at the chicken farm, we will able we notice areas where conservation was so
As you can see, we are still having some technical difficulties. I think what I would ask Ricardo and Sylvia, if they could actually just share that part of the presentation, some of the lessons to learn. I'm sorry that I jump on that, but I was here so I could see Maya telling me that the video was having some difficulty. So I'll leave it at that.
No, thank you, Nolo. Well, now we have Ricardo and Sylvia. If you guys would finish up the video, then we can get on with some Q&A questions from the public.
Oh, thank you, Sara. And to explain the last part of the video, we were talking about how the modules really helped us in our project and are currently helping us in the project, because it was a very amazing feeling to be able to quickly know what had to be done and where to be done as soon as we arrived at the premises, since we could quickly assess that we needed to work on the erosion, that we needed to find more opportunities for the farmer, like through the chicken manure, and turn it into profit, or even help other farmers through the creation of compost. And it was very satisfying, actually, very satisfying to see that what we got is what we could use. And I don't know if Sylvia wants to add.
No, you really said it all. I mean, this time with the Nolo internship really helped us, figure out to quickly know from the moment we got there how to know what problems were going on and how we could help. We're really thankful for this opportunity. And, we're going to finish soon. At the time of this presentation, we still hadn't finished the project with Carlos. We're going to finish. And it's going to be really gratifying to see the results.
Glad to hear that it's still an ongoing project, guys. We have our first question from the public, and it is, what type of conservation assessment tool, if any, did you follow to identify conservation recommendations for this farmer? Were there any tools involved in this project?
Well, to answer that question, technically there was, but it was ourselves, since we took advantage of one of the lessons in the modules called 5 Senses. And as the name suggests, we could quickly use our 5 senses to assess our environment. And we could actually listen that he had a ravine, I think it's the proper word, near the farm. So there he had a liability in terms that was partially the cause of his high erosion. And that quickly taught us about an opportunity he had about water management to better manage his water and feed the animals he had on the farm and the future crops that he's planning on having in the area.
Yeah, that's great. We have a second question now. What did you learn from each other working as a team? Did you benefit from having different majors and agricultural interests?
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm an animal science major and he's agriculture major. And yeah, we benefited from each other. I think I would have never come up with the erosion plan as well as he did. And I guess he would say that he wouldn't have come up with the manure project, or created the way that, as a group we did, So yeah, we learned a lot from each other. We knew each other from the first year of college, but we got to know each other a lot deeper and a lot more professionally. So it was nice.
Anything you would like to add to that, Ricardo?
Well, I have to 100% agree with Sylvia, since it was a very complementary combination in terms of how quickly she could access the opportunities of dealing with the chicken manure and how quickly I could access the opportunity of dealing with the erosion. And it was a perfect combination, honestly, because I had knowledge about compost and dealing with plants, and she had a lot of knowledge of the animals and the poultry she had in the area. So it really helped develop a very solid project in the end, and still ongoing project, I should say.
So hearing that you're still ongoing with the project, where are you now in terms of what you have done, what's to come?
Oh, you had a bit of a sneak peek in the presentation. Well, you saw me dealing with the wood chips. So currently, not currently. We actually a little bit further out, since we're waiting for the manure to dry and for the green material, like vegetative material, to dry, so we can finish mixing it with the wood chip to then start the hot compost recipe procedure, that we let the temperature rise and we mix it, let it rise and mix it, to later start the final process, the curating process, that takes around 52 days. So in terms of manual labor, we could say we're like three quarters done. And in terms of actually waiting, well, we still have we still have plenty of time.
Well, that's great to hear. I love to hear about you guys' projects whenever I can. As I said, I was a coach, and it just makes me very proud to see all the work that you've done and that you worked so well together, considering that you are both from different majors. So thank you very much for being here, guys. We're going to move on to our next project, which is titled Coffee Culture and Conservation. This one is presented by Erika Soler, Jose Seda, and Jose Carlos Rivera. So whenever the video is ready.
My name is Jose Carlos Rivera. This is our presentation of coffee culture and conservation. I would like to thank NOLA Consulting for bringing up this opportunity for us. Erika.
Okay. Well, about us, my name is Erika Tesol Maldonado. I'm an undergraduate student in electrical engineering at Universidad de Mayagüez. This is my second internship with NOLA Consulting Company. My first internship was at Culebra, Puerto Rico. We were helping farmers apply natural conservation practices from NRCS, and we were doing outreach to help them. Jose Carlos.
Currently studying environmental and agricultural systems. Not only as a barista, but also as a coffee educator. And my first experience with NOLA Consulting was in the Mississippi Delta, where I had the experience to see great scale of agriculture and see how the NRCS works. Jose Seda.
Saludos, mi nombre es José Antonio Seda. Me gradué en el 2019 de bachillerato en extensión agrícola. Esta es mi segunda oportunidad de internado con NOLA Consulting. El primero fue después que culminé mi bachillerato en la isla de Culebra, promoviendo prácticas de NRCS.
Our mission is to promote conservation practices for coffee planting so farmers get a proper use of their resources, better quality coffee, and optimize their business operation, bring education through a series of modules, and consider their social impact over areas that this industry reaches. We want to make these modules and knowledge accessible to all audience that are interested in developing under this industry, document and expose the richness of coffee culture in Puerto Rico, pushing it towards what once was. our vision, we want to see how natural resources conservation awareness impacts coffee operation, raise the future harvest yields, promote quality standards, and through accessible technician education, guide social groups towards areas of the coffee industry. Seek proper recognition among the coffee market, where coffee producers could be recognized by their effort, create consistent improvement and a sustainable web where educators among the industry.
So for our project the objectives, we wanted to establish a network between coffee farmers and extensionists by doing outreach, visit coffee farms to inspect and examine the conservation practices that they're applying, talk to experts and people that work in the coffee industry to learn and educate each other about the coffee culture, help farmers establish conservation practices and see the impact in yield and quality improvement, learn about coffee quality standards to support the production sector, and observe the impact of coffee education among different areas of this industry. José Carlos.
Sí. La situación actual de la industria cafetalera en Puerto Rico es que debido a los altos costos de producción y a la disminución en mano de obra disponible, el agricultor se ve obligado a manejar menos terreno, a tener mayores rendimientos y a poder, necesita mercadear mejor su producto, tener una mejor remuneración. Las prácticas de conservación nos ayudan a alcanzar estos dos objetivos sin dañar los recursos naturales, respetando el medio ambiente. Es por eso que es necesario crear una red en la que nosotros podamos brindar información a toda la audiencia que esté interesada en desarrollar la industria cafetalera en Puerto Rico. La finca está ubicada en Mayagüez, en el barrio Leguízamo, en el kilómetro 13.6, carretera 108. Está registrada como Hacienda Salomé y intercalamos el café con aguacate, plátano y cítricos para tener ingresos adicionales. Y otra especie que estamos manejando, además del arábico, es el robusta, ya que su manejo es un poco más sencillo y es resistente a condiciones adversas y a plagas.
As we can see in the following images, we notice contour farming. We also see shading and intercropping, and we have cover crops to manage our operation. Now, after seeing this, I would like to ask you guys to think, how could well use of resources impact this coffee operation? Could you see impact over the producer's economy or remuneration due to this? Will taking this education towards producers, workers, and other members of this industry have an effect on future development? With this, we want to aim to educate our workers and to attract other people to work in this industry where the labor hand is low, and along with education, create a network where this can be sustained by the same workers. We see this is actually Robusta. We have some ripe beans, some ripe cherries, some are not. Robusta is a variety that can produce all over the year. This helps the agriculture gain better yield, but still doesn't recompense the quality that the Arabica does. Please.
Alright, so lessons from the internship. Among this we have been guided by this learning network where we have focused in developing 3 areas: leadership, natural resources, and entrepreneurship. We have also reinforced our life assessment towards conservation, hoping to take valuable knowledge towards the coffee producers and improving the production yield and quality.
with this, we would like to thank you all.
Thank you for this presentation.
And we hope you find this useful.
Well, to thank you for that wonderful presentation. Now we welcome Erika and Jose Seda. So whenever you're ready, guys.
Hola.
Hola,
Salud.
Erika.
Hi. Saludos.
¿Cómo se encuentran bien?
Todo bien, todo bien.
Pues vamos a comenzar con nuestra primera pregunta, que sería, ¿qué han hecho hasta ahora? Ya que su proyecto es an ongoing project, ¿en dónde se encuentran ahora mismo?
Bueno, pues, empiezo yo. Ok, pues yo, por lo menos por mi parte, yo he seguido como tal, tuve que pues, ir a mi pueblo, que es en Caguas, no estoy en el área de Mayagüez, que era en el pueblo donde nos estábamos encontrando para las reuniones y pues desarrollar el proyecto. Pero nada, yo estaba aquí en mi pueblo cogiendo pues las clases de la universidad y he continuado más como que en términos de research, de búsqueda de información y siguiéndome, o sea, educando y buscando pues más lo que sería en términos no prácticos como José Seda, pero más como que en teoría y pues todo el procedimiento como tal. No sé si José Seda quiere añadir pues, el término práctico.
Sí, yo he seguido más en lo práctico, ¿verdad? Trabajando en esa finca que es la de mi papá, la que utilizamos para el proyecto. No nos hemos reunido formalmente, ¿verdad? Ya que subimos el video un tiempito después, nuestro compañero, creo que es algo de su profesión como barista, y no le hemos dado así, nosotros como grupo, ¿verdad? Nos hemos reunido formalmente y hemos continuado con el proyecto, pero yo por mi parte pues he seguido trabajando en lo práctico, en la finca como tal.
Excelente. Ya que ustedes mencionan que cada uno, por lo que puedo ver, tuvo un rol distinto en su proyecto, si quieren abundar un poquito más en eso, lo que cada uno aportó y lo que encontró importante que supieran las personas sobre la caficultura.
Pues por lo menos en mi caso, pues yo como no, pues soy de ingeniería eléctrica y la gente como que a mí me preguntan a veces como que, pero el conocimiento y eso, pero gracias a estas dos experiencias con los internados yo he podido adquirir bastante conocimiento en términos de las prácticas de conservación y pues mi rol como que en este proyecto fue eso de las prácticas de conservación en aplicarla a lo que sería pues la finca de José Seda o también las otras fincas que queríamos visitar, pero pues tuvimos un poco de problemas en caso de pues, la pandemia y algunas restricciones que tuvimos, pero sí podíamos, en mi caso, podía ayudar y aportar en esa parte sobre, pues, estas son las prácticas de conservación que se pueden aportar. Esto es lo que se está viendo en la finca, esto es lo que podemos identificar como un natural concern. Y mis compañeros también pues, tenían sus roles. José Seda se enfocaba más como que en la parte de las plantas, del café, la cosecha. Y José Carlos, él también como tiene experiencia en la industria y como barista también tiene experiencia trabajando con el café. Él también en esa parte, él podía hablar un poco sobre la planta, sobre el café, sobre la fruta también. Todos conocíamos las prácticas. Y pues no sé si alguno de ellos quiera aportar en su parte.
Sí, creo que no. Ajá.
No, continúa, José.
Ok, creo que nos complementamos bastante bien. La idea fue de los coaches que nos tocó, ¿verdad? De unirnos como grupo. Pues ya nosotros, ya yo y Erika nos habíamos unido y luego yo la idea de que nos complementáramos con lo de café de calidad. Yo tenía la parte práctica de la finca, de cómo manejarla, y creo que sí fue una experiencia muy bonita y nos complementamos bastante bien.
Con eso quiero darle la bienvenida a José Carlos, que llegó de sorpresa, pero estamos muy felices de que llegó.
Gracias Sara. Sí, esta experiencia de este internado ha sido grandiosa. Yo tuve la oportunidad a partir del internado de salir del país y tomarme una certificación con el Specialty Coffee Association, todo con el fin de poder virar a la isla y seguir manifestando este mismo proyecto. Ha sido toda una experiencia donde hemos buscado la educación propia para poder llevarle lo mejor los próximos que vayan a formar parte de esto. Y nada, dicho esto, llegué un poco tarde porque acabo de terminar mi curso de catación por acá. Ha sido una experiencia maravillosa. Ya formo parte de lo que es la Specialty Coffee Association y apuesto a que a partir de ahí tendremos mucho más para dar y para desarrollar este mismo proyecto.
Pues muchas felicidades, José Carlos. Y veo que Indio apareció por ahí, si él tiene alguna pregunta que quiera hacerles.
Sí, tengo una pregunta, gracias Sara. En primer lugar, los felicito a los tres por el proyecto, de verdad que me gustó mucho. Y la pregunta va dirigida a José, a José Seda, en el sentido de que pues sé que es una finca familiar y están impulsando, ¿verdad?, las prácticas de conservación y ese enfoque. Mi pregunta es en cuanto al grado generacional. O sea, es una finca familiar y muchas veces con las generaciones pues cambian las cosas y los enfoques. ¿Ha habido algún tipo de resistencia al cambio de parte de tu familia en el sentido de adoptar este nuevo camino a la conservación? ¿O entienden que es el paso correcto como tal? Quisiera que abundaras un poquito acerca de eso.
Seguro. Pues gracias a Dios, ¿verdad? Mi papá, desde que empezó con la finca, pues siempre ha tenido relación con NRCS y siempre todas las recomendaciones que ellos le han dado, él las ha seguido, ¿no? Cuando yo empecé a trabajar con él mano a mano, podían haber cierta resistencia en cuestión de forma de trabajo, ¿verdad? Al agricultor tradicional le gusta mucho no sembrar al contorno, ¿verdad? Para avanzar más. Yo creo que eso ha sido que he visto un poquito de resistencia, pero cuando uno le explica muy bien, que con eso sí, yo creo que eso ha sido lo único que he podido notar.
No, y le agradezco a Indio por esa... ¿Perdón?
No, que si hay alguna otra pregunta.
Pues por ahora no. Quería agradecerle a Indio por esa pregunta. Una excelente. Es muy importante que con el concepto que nosotros tenemos de Pass It Forward, ustedes puedan ver que hay oportunidad de cambiar muchas mentes y seguir ayudando con la conservación y el ambiente. Y les quiero agradecer a ustedes tres por estar con nosotros. José Carlos, gracias por llegar sorpresa. Now we're going to move on to our next video presentation, which is Agricultura para ti, and it is presented by Melanie Martinez, Alejandra González, and Gabriela Vélez. Now stay tuned for the short video.
Hello, my name is Melanie Martinez Arocho and I am a student in the University of Puerto Rico in Mayagüez. Today, my team and I will be presenting a project we created for an NOLA consulting internship called Champions in Conservation Learning Network. Our project is called Agricultura para ti, which in the Puerto Rican dialect means agriculture for you. But before I talk about our project, I'd first like to talk about our team and our experiences with NOLA Consulting. Our team is made up of Gabriela Vélez Rodriguez, who is an agronomist with a bachelor's in agronomy, Alejandra González Lopez, who is an agronomist with a bachelor's in general agriculture, and I am a student in agricultural education. I met Gabriela and Alejandra last year on our first NOLA consulting internship, and we instantly clicked. We noticed we had similar values, ideas, and a desire to make things better. We consider it to be a very important part of this project. So we were all placed in different parts of North Carolina. In my case, it was Goldsboro, which was a neat city to be in. And that's where I met soil conservationist Don Barker, who showed me the ropes in office work and field work alike, and gave me insights to what it's like to work in an RCS. And I met so many people there, I can't mention them all, but Brenda Britt, who was the conservationist technical assistant, also helped me a lot. And Nolo and Maya were with us every step of the way, so everything was brand new, but I was comfortable.
Hello there. My name is Gabriela Cristina Vélez Rodriguez, and my first interaction with the NRCS was thanks to the NOLA consulting team. I participated in their summer internship during 2019. I was an intern at the Team 10 field office located in Raleigh, North Carolina. There, my experience was awesome. I had the opportunity to work with a very caring and supportive group of conservationists and professionals. Some of these conservationists were Miss Diana Irizarry, Miss Lindsay Martinez, Miss Teresa Fur, and Miss Themis Stone. They encouraged me to learn all that I could about the different conservation practices and how to work with the different producers and farmers. Also, how to choose the best conservation practices to cater for their needs and resource concerns. I treasure all their advice and tips, and they inspired me to give my best in all in everything I do, and even maybe pursue a career in resource conservation. For all of this, I am very grateful.
Hi, as my partner said, my name is Alejandra Gonzalez Lopez. My first connection with NRCS was through NOLA Consulting. I was in North Carolina, very specific, Asheville. While I was there, I met a lot of conservationists, but I worked with two, John Ottinger and Austin Street. I learned a lot from them, and they made me want to keep passing forward the information that they give me and give the people they help.
And with all of these great experiences and working with NOLA Consulting again, we developed Agricultura Pati. With this project, we want to address the inaccessibility of agricultural education. Although agriculture is an ancient practice, the education we as students receive is not accessible, nor is it inclusive. Our solution, in short, is to create a learning network in communities. My partner Gabby can tell us more about it.
Well, our objectives for our project is to create a supporting network for farmers and anyone who's interested in producing crops, and offering them educational workshops accessible for everyone, regardless of their academic level. That includes people with non-formal education, people who are illiterate, and people who are simply not exposed to agriculture and don't know where to start. We want to cater to everyone and provide our knowledge in diverse conservation and general agricultural practices. The community we chose to start with our project and workshops is my community. The sector Los Velázquez, Barrio Cañaboncito in Caguas, Puerto Rico. Why we chose this community? Well, my community is pretty united and we're pretty organized. Our community leader is a very active person, and she's always looking for different ways to offer the community workshops, educational workshops, creative opportunities. And so it was pretty easy and relatively accessible to contact and coordinate a group so we could offer them our workshops and, involve them in our project. As we develop, we want to make information accessible for different communities. We've been brainstorming about, in the long run, create an app where you can find a directory that includes all the farmers and producers that we have impacted with our workshops. And also a feature where users can exchange seeds, plants, and other agricultural products, and also get, in contact with one another and even exchange their brand new knowledge.
This new internship not only help us develop our project, but also help us establish our goals, mission, vision, and core values. Our goals and values are the accessibility of resources and, like we have been mentioned since the beginning, inclusion. As an overview of our project, we'd like to share with you our mission and vision. Our mission is to promote agricultural education in an agroecological perspective. And our mission is to create a series of workshops to promote awareness of conservation practice and empower people to produce their own food in an educational way. We want to bring people together through agriculture and create a friendly environment that inspires other people to pass it forward as we did. Part of our mission is to start our workshops with the basic of agriculture, like preserving seed, the importance of preserving seed, and how to preserve seeds. We also want to include in these workshops how to take care of plants and soil by applying some conservation practice like pollinator habitats, wind barrier, contour farming, and how to prevent erosion, among others. To finish this presentation, we want to thank the NOLO consulting team for giving us the opportunity to develop this project and help us since day one. This experience has shown us how to deliver our knowledge in a creative way and give us the confidence that we need to educate people around us. Thank you.
Wow, wonderful presentation. Now I would love to welcome Melanie to answer some questions from the public.
Hi, Sarah. Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you and see you clearly.
Perfect.
Okay, so this first question is a personal one because I am genuinely curious why you named your project Agricultura Pati.
Well, we named it Agricultura Pati because it's a very literal name. Like, we were thinking, so we're taking all these workshops, all this educational material, literally to communities. We even considered doing it in basements, in people's basements, because Gabi said that in her community, that is the community where we wanted to start this project, they share, like many houses share the same backyard. So it's literally education right in your backyard. So it's it's a way to say that these workshops are tailored for you, for your needs and your style of learning.
No, and it's a very much Puerto Rican name, if I say so.
Yes.
Yeah, and also we have another question. What have you taken from this project? What experiences have you experienced, to say the least?
Well, it's been great developing these workshops. I've definitely it's definitely made us proud of what we can do. We haven't had the chance to implement it yet due to COVID. And we really want to emphasize the fact that these workshops should be physical, that should be in person, is what I mean. Because if we were to offer it online, I think that a huge part of our target audience will not be able to benefit from these workshops, as not everyone has internet access, not everyone can read. So I think that aspect would be lost if it would not be an in-person workshop. But it's been great. It's been great working with the team. We all have our own specialties. Gabriela and Alejandra have their own specialties. Gabriela in general in agronomy, Alejandra in general agriculture, and I have the pedagogical aspect of the project. So we really work well together. And in the meantime, we're just going to be developing as many workshops as we can for when we are able to provide them to the communities that we aspire to.
That sounds amazing. Do you have a little sneak peek of some of the workshops that you might be showing?
Well, I can provide the material we have up to now. After the symposium is over, I can definitely put it out there so you all can see it.
Well, that would be great. So if you want any more information on this project and all the upcoming projects that we've already showed and the one that we have left, you can send us an email or again at latinofarmersusa.com. And thank you, Melanie, for being here with us. We're going to move on to our next project.
Thank you.
Okay. Lastly, we have the Nova Mentis, an evolving learning network. This one is presented by Javier Medina, and whenever the video is ready.
Good morning, everyone. Today I will be presenting the project Nova Mentis, an evolving learning network. This project was developed for the Champions in Conservation Learning Network internship, which was offered by NOLA Consulting Company. So the project participant currently, I am the only one participating on this project. My name is Javier Medina Sanchez. I graduated from the University of Puerto Rico Maya West from the Department of Agricultural Science. Currently, I'm doing a master's at the Ohio State University at the Department of Agriculture, Communication, Education, and Leadership. And I have a focus on international agricultural development. So what exactly is Nova Mentis? Nova Mentis is a learning network that is focused on creating a conservation mindset within individuals. It is important to define how we take in conservation. So conservation is defined as a prevention of wasteful use of a resource. So we want to with this definition, we want to see conservation as in the aspect of utilizing and developing mindsets within individuals and preventing that useful resource to go to waste. So our mission is to train communities to become accountable for their surroundings and become resilient through sustainability conservation practices. Our vision
is to create a multiplier effect that can be replicated around the world to evolve the agricultural industry community. So, how are we going to achieve this? First, and most importantly, we will develop a cadre of professionals that will be working towards their best version of themselves. This selection will be from the different backgrounds of engineering, sociology, agroeconomy, and business majors, or any other fields that can come in relation to Novo Mentis goals and future development. These professionals and groups will take part into personal development, which will focus on developing their interpersonal skills, which will enable them to become more critical thinkers and problem solvers, and will enable them to take part in leadership efforts and as well as team efforts. So they will also receive technical development in a variety of fields, for example, in conservation practices that will include water management, renewable energy, soil management, waste management, recycling, and diverse conservation approaches. Within these conservation approaches, we will focus on developing 6 main approaches, which include urban agriculture, agroecology, organic production, agroforestry, permaculture, and last but not least, traditional agricultural production, since it's the most common and it is the most that needs the conservation aspect. So, after this, the group will take part in innovation initiatives, which will develop new conservation practices, will focus on developing new technology for these conservation practices, and will create new approaches to spread the conservation mindsets within individuals and communities. Also, they will be trained on business administration, which will include finances, accounting, and proposal writing, and any other area in the business administration that can help them become better professionals. After this, they will do outreach, which will be focused on establishing an atmosphere of inclusiveness and accountability that will address farmers and community concerns. This will be done through community workshops for conservation. In the community, individuals may have the opportunity to grow alongside their business and their community by developing habits like, for example, establishing routines, financial stability, goal establishment, and community social relations. Also, we will focus on developing community markets that will sell to the community what they produce. They will exchange with other community goods and products they produce in their community, and this will result in an economy surplus, which will help the local economy to thrive. The workshops will be implemented with the collaboration of different farms that will serve as models in conservation for the communities. An example of these farms are Finca Agroecológica El Josco Bravo, Finca Plenitud, y Finca Hacienda Monte Rojo, which are all currently located in Puerto Rico, but we look forward to partnering with other farms that will help establish and serve as community models farms. So, what are the lessons learned from this internship? Well, mostly I learned the importance of a learning network, which we can see how important it is in the needs for conservation implementation. Also, a very important key factor of this internship was learning to use my senses to address farmer concerns and community concerns, which will better enable me and the group of professionals to become more efficient. And also, the necessity for professionals in conservation, since we need this to move forward into a more efficient and eco-friendly agricultural industry. So, plans to action. Currently, like I mentioned, I'm doing my master's thesis, which focuses on studying how leaders around the world affect community resiliency and how the communities um, interact and accept this leadership to establish sustainability within their communities. After this, I will be working on writing a proposal, which will work and help us acquire funds to establish the goals and practices we want to achieve. This will be done by networking and partnering with different entities, which will help us establish the conservation mindsets within individuals. I would like to share this quote that really impacted me and was shared in the internship that reads as follows: 10% of all of us is better than 100% of me. Dr. Rodo Martinez. This quote is really important since it brings into the light the fact that we can better achieve things together rather than working alone, which is the main focus of Novo Mentis. And I would like to acknowledge the staff at Nolo Consulting Company, which have really helped me and every one of our interns to accomplish our goals and become more sustainable in our conservation mindsets. Thank you all for your attention.
Wow, wonderful projects done by so many of our participants. And it is my pleasure to welcome back Javier Medina. How are you, Javier?
I'm doing well. How are you? Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me here, and thank you for taking part of the symposium.
No, thank you for being here with us and participating so much as the others. So our first question is actually, what inspired you to make a learning network? What was your thought process behind it?
That's actually an excellent question. What actually inspired me to do a learning network was the fact that while studying in Puerto Rico, I have noticed that there's a lot of young farmers, young professionals that want to go into the field of agriculture, as well as there's a lot of different farmers that are already in the field and are probably having struggles with developing their farms and practices. And I've noticed the need to develop this learning network since there's so many people interested in teaching what they already learned and so many people in need of learning these teachings. So it's really important to focus on the development of this, bringing the information back from the university and from public institutions to the public, and also training different professionals in order to do this. So this is where resides the need and the importance and the idea of developing the learning network.
Great. And is there any particular reason why you chose those types of agriculture? I saw urban agriculture among many others, and just wondering why those in particular?
Actually, I chose those different approaches since I consider that in the field of agriculture, they are the ones that are most growing, and also traditional agriculture, as I mentioned in the presentation, is the one that is most common, and is also the one that also needs the most implementation of conservation. Since there's diverse approaches to do different types of agricultural farming and production, I wanted to focus on this, but they won't only be limited to this. They will also grow the different approaches, like, for example, control environment agriculture and new initiatives and like agricultural engineering techniques, like I mentioned, as well as any other practice or approach that can help develop the conservation within agricultural practices.
That's great. If there are no other questions from the audience, well, yeah, thank you for being with us, Javier. And Yeah, thank you for all of the presentations that were shown here today. We are very proud of all of our participants and just want to say to keep up the good work. We have a lot of ongoing projects still, so very excited to see where those will fall.